10:48 p.m. on March 25, 2022, a young mother made a final, desperate call to emergency services. She didn't know it then, but she had less than 2 minutes left to live. On the other end of the line was 21-year-old Mackenzie Anderson, a woman who had already sensed her fate long before that night arrived. To her friends, Mackenzie was known as Max. She was vibrant, magnetic, and full of energy, the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into. She danced with friends until sunrise, watched the sun melt into the horizon along the Newcastle coastline, and captured her life through TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Her social media painted the picture of a young woman embracing every possibility life had to offer. Scrolling through her posts, you'd see laughter, friendships, adventures, and joy. But above all, you'd see her greatest pride, her 1-year-old son. She called him my love bug and my caterpillar. Every smile she shared, every memory she posted was anchored by her devotion to him. Yet behind those smiling photos and cheerful videos, Mackenzie was fighting a battle almost no one could see. Since the age of 16, she had struggled with methamphetamine addiction, a shadow that followed her into adulthood. But when her son was born, something inside her shifted. She wanted more. She wanted better. She was actively trying to rebuild her life, determined to give her child the stable, loving home she never had. Friends say she was hopeful, optimistic, ready for a fresh start. Then, in late 2019, Mackenzie met Tyrone Thompson. At first, he seemed like someone who understood her pain, someone who shared her struggles. Thompson was 22 years old and carried his own deeply traumatic past, one marked by a violent schizophrenic father, sexual abuse by a teacher, and years of witnessing domestic violence. But what Mackenzie couldn't see was how deeply damaged he truly was. Thompson suffered from complex post-traumatic stress disorder and a severe personality disorder. More dangerously, he had an obsessive need to control the people he claimed to love. The charm didn't last long. What began as a relationship quickly turned into something far darker. The violence was there almost from the beginning. His control was immediate and terrifying. He monitored Mackenzie constantly, isolated her from friends, and used both physical violence and psychological manipulation to keep her trapped. His mental state was unstable and disturbing. He believed microplastics were poisoning him and turning him into a woman. He claimed the government was secretly run by the Kardashians. These weren't eccentric thoughts, they were warning signs. Forensic psychiatrists would later confirm something chilling, despite his mental health issues. Thompson was not psychotic during his most violent acts. He knew exactly what he was doing. By late 2021, Mackenzie's friends noticed the changes. She began sending photos of bruises, silent proof of the abuse she was enduring. These weren't accidents. They weren't isolated incidents. They were part of a sustained campaign of terror. Mackenzie reached out to domestic violence services, asking for help installing security doors and cameras. She knew she was in danger. She knew time was running out. In emails, she described a life ruled by fear. And to her friends, she made a statement that would haunt them forever. She told them, calmly and with certainty, "He's going to kill me." In October 2021, Thompson was arrested and charged with assault, intimidation, and property damage. He was sentenced to a maximum of 10 months in prison. For the first time in a long while, Mackenzie could breathe. She took out an apprehended violence order, legally forbidding him from contacting her or coming near her home. But the system failed her. Thompson's non-parole period was reduced on appeal from 5 months to just 4 months and 2 weeks. Prison didn't rehabilitate him. It intensified his obsession. He spent his time thinking about Mackenzie, planning his return, convincing himself she still belonged to him. On March 9, 2022, Thompson was released. Within hours, he violated parole and the AVO. He called Mackenzie and told her he was coming for her. He said he loved her. It wasn't love, it was ownership. When she blocked him, he created new social media accounts. He contacted people connected to her new partner. This wasn't impulsive, it was calculated. The very next day, he assaulted his own father. Despite this, he was granted conditional bail. Over the following days, Thompson breached the AVO 8 times, 8 chances to stop him, 8 warnings ignored. For 6 days, Mackenzie tried to manage the impossible appeasing a violent man while protecting her child. She told friends again and again that he would kill her. On March 24th, just 1 day before her death, Thompson allegedly breached the AVO again. March 25th began like any other day. That afternoon, Mackenzie, Thompson, and a male friend gathered at her unit. They drank and talked, but Thompson's mood shifted quickly. After just 2 drinks, he became emotional, possessive, and angry. Mackenzie asked him to leave. He didn't take it well. She texted her friend, "Don't leave me alone with him." Thompson began moving knives around the kitchen. Slowly, deliberately, he placed one in plain view. The threat was unmistakable. Around 9:30 p.m., Thompson was walked toward the train station. But he came back, he climbed onto the second-floor balcony and broke into her home while she slept. She woke up to him inside her bedroom. At 10:40 p.m., Mackenzie called emergency services. "My ex-boyfriend's broken in," she said. "I have an avo on him. He came at me with a knife." She told him there had been 2 knives. Only one was accounted for. 8 minutes later, she sent her final text. "He's back." Between 10:48 and 10:50 p.m., Tyrone Thompson stabbed Mackenzie Anderson 78 times using 2 kitchen knives. One snapped from the force of the attack. Neighbors heard the screams. One witness saw him standing over her, stabbing her repeatedly in silence. Mackenzie fought. She tried to escape, but she was trapped. Police found her outside the unit with a broken knife handle on her chest. Her 1-year-old son was there covered in her blood, but alive. Thompson showed no remorse. He told police he stabbed her until she stopped moving. After nearly 3 years of denying responsibility, he pleaded guilty. On May 2, 2025, he was sentenced to 22 years and 6 months. The sentence sparked outrage. Mackenzie's mother, Tabitha Ackert, turned grief into action. Her petition led to historic change. On November 18, 2025, New South Wales passed a law setting a 25-year standard non-parole period for murdering an intimate partner. Mackenzie Anderson didn't survive, but her case changed the law.